PageKeytech, we get back to you fast. And I mean fast. Check this out. Someone asked a question on our DuoBot video in June, and wha-bam! 2 months later, before you could blink an eye, we got right back to them. Thanks, Zigfrid, for asking about this and prompting me to create this video. This is going to be a quick walkthrough of the DuoBot source code, which I made public a few weeks ago. You can find it at gitlab.com/pagekeytech/DuoBot. But first of all, why did I create this whole DuoBot project in the first place? Well, I'm a bit of a digital recluse. I feel like technology is wonderful, but we have to be careful about our relationship with it. It can get a little addicting. When I made this in 2019, I was experimenting with time away from my phone. I wanted to just have a flip phone and completely get away from my smartphone for an extended period of time. Giving up social media wasn't that hard for me, and I was on my computer all day for work anyway, if I needed to look up specific information online. The main thing holding me back from my digital cleanse was a streak. Not the kind that weirdos do in the bottom of the 7th of a baseball game. We're talking about 800 hard-earned days of language learning here. So if I'm trying not to use my phone at all, how can I still do this without losing my streak? Well, DuoLingo has a web interface. So the quick and easy answer would be, just log in for 5 minutes a day and do my Russian lesson, or whatever I was learning at the time. But I don't always like to do things the easy way. So of course the obvious answer to this problem was to spend hours and hours stepping through the process, bit by bit, of logging into DuoLingo, navigating to the quiz, reading the buttons, and writing the answers. Was it worth it? Heck yeah, you know I needed those 5 minutes back in my day. Let's talk about the technical design. How does this work? Well, at its core, it's just a Python script that you can run on your computer. It uses the Selenium automation framework to open a browser and simulate a real person's interaction with it. So that means it opens the website, and you can use CSS selectors and other techniques to search the page for certain buttons to click or text elements to read. In addition to clicking elements, you can also send input by simulating key presses. Combining these techniques allowed me to input my username and password and click the right buttons to launch a quiz. Once inside the quiz, a bit more logic was required. There were several different question types: answer correct, listening, match pairs, write in, select characters, select sound. Each of these types had slightly different elements. Thankfully, the common tie between all of these screens was the prompt, which told you which question type you were currently using. Once you knew that, you could find the question or text to be translated and select the answer, either by typing, selecting a multiple choice option, or the most challenging, matching things by tapping answers in the right order. I did this when I knew very little about Python. I had never made a Python package before, and I was ignorant to many best practices, such as where to put your setup.py and requirements.txt files, how to organize your source folders. I was doing it like Java, yikes.
What the? You stink!
And plenty more. Similarly, I just figured out about Docker and Docker Compose when I was working on this project. I was able to containerize my application, which I was proud of. This let me easily switch over to running it in CI/CD. That's right, my little DuoBot graduated to the cloud. In fact, he was a DevOps bot. What a beast. I set up a GitLab CI/CD pipeline to run every day at some ridiculously early hour, 4 or 6 a.m. Then every morning I would check my phone and see that my little streak flame was lit up without me having done anything, meaning that my bot had succeeded. It did occasionally fail, at which point I would get an email. I tried to fix it as best I could, but sometimes I would just pop open DuoLingo and do the deed. That's basically the whole story about DuoBot. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I didn't release the source code at first because I thought it was better to keep it private. Maybe I thought that saving 5 minutes a day on someone else's language learning app was $1 million idea. By the way, check out Boom Languages. But I did want someone to at least show some interest before I gave my cute little creation away for free. Thankfully, Zigfrid did just that, 2 years after I posted my original show-off video. At the time, I chose Arabic because it was a relatively new language with limited features, so it was easier to automate. I was also interested in learning it, which was a plus. Eventually, I added limited support for Russian, Chinese, and Spanish too, but they were never stable enough for me to trust my beloved streak with them. I tried to run the DuoBot code recently, but I couldn't get it to work quite like I did back in the day. I think DuoLingo must have changed their site around a bit. Plus, I took multiple stabs at a complete re-implementation without finishing them. So if you dive into the code, sorry about that. With some tweaks though, it could be up and running again. That is where I leave you, brave techie soul, with a challenge. Clone my repo and try to get it running again. Only do it if it benefits you, if you're a user of DuoLingo. Or maybe this can be the starting point for a new DuoBot that you build. Or even something entirely different that you want to automate. I don't use DuoLingo anymore. I'm actually pretty glad that I stopped letting some company control my life by putting an ever-increasing number next to a flame emoji. That being said, the first step is admitting you have a problem. The second one may be trying to automate the problem away, right? I'll leave it up to you. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to PageKey Tech for more scintillating tech content.